Hello, positive readers. It's Positive Writer here today with another video. And today I am going to be introducing a readathon that I'm going to be doing that I created for December 2020 called the Read 2021-a-thon. This readathon was born from Jesus Christ himself, thank you God, who put the idea on my mind. Because this year has been really kind of slacking in reading. Not that I need to be always on the grind with reading, because it's something that I enjoy. But I haven't read that much this year. Like the beginning of the year was kind of really heavy. And most of that was stuff that I low-key had to do because I was getting a lot of books from NetGalley. It was a lot of stuff that I did end up enjoying just because I had also requested the stuff. But, you know, sometimes you just kind of want to read outside of whatever you were anticipating. And so, you know, then it was like the entire middle of the year where I was not reading really anything. I tried to read certain stuff and it just didn't pan out. And so, without further ado, we're just going to be doing a readathon in December to kind of not even make up for the reading, but really what it was born from is this desire to look back on the year, but in a very indirect sense. Like, my year has been really crazy. It's been a roller coaster. It still is a roller coaster. It's been really hard for me. I coined the term the battle of 2021. It's been really hard, but it's been really, really beautiful too. And so this readathon is going to allow me to, and anyone else who wants to do it, to kind of look back on the year and the things that they went through, and then reminisce in a way that's kind of removed from your own life because these are characters that we're going to be reading about, but also be able to learn something from a similar situation. And so the readathon basically is about, I think about 22, 23 prompts. And they're all something that I either struggled to maintain, struggled with, and they're all just like these words and these traits that I might have had some trouble with, or had too much of. And so I picked books that, from first glance, seem like they might deal with these same themes, and might include a character arc or two. Some of these definitely are series, but yeah, and include a character arc or two, of one of the characters going through the similar stuff, and so, or something that I could just pull from and then learn from. And so I'm really excited to do it. Again, if you would like to do this, you can obviously just use my prompts, or you can use your own based on your own year. But I just thought it'd be fun to kind of, because I always reminisce at the end of the year anyway, because this year has been such a battle, such a fight. I am winning, just so you know. Thank the Lord Jesus Christ. But just because this year has been so unique, I really wanted to kind of do this thing, especially just because I really love to read, so it's just an excuse to read a lot of books. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into this. My first prompt is number 1, and that is self-control. And self-control's book is Rewind by Catherine Ryan Howard. Rewind. I won't be telling you what any of these are about because there are 23 of them, and I want to get through this so that it's not just 23 minutes of me sitting here like, yes, you know. And so I'll just be mentioning the genre and a little something that I know about the book, because I made this list a couple days ago when I was supposed to record this, and then I didn't record it, and so now I kind of forgot a lot of these books and what they're about or whatever. But that's the point. I like going in with nothing. But anyway, Rewind is a thriller, psycho vibes, very much murder mystery. That is what I will say about Rewind by Catherine Ryan Howard. And hopefully it gives me a lesson or two about some self-control. Number 2 is Restraint. That's a big one. And the book I chose for this is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. And this is a romance novel. Kind of like, gives me like summer fling vibes. And I guess Restraint would have to be the one thing that is on here also because of the story and the type of story it is. This one I really kind of know vividly because I had it on my TBR. These are all, again, somebody clap for me, because these are all books from my TBR. I did not let myself go out and find another, like, new books to read for these prompts. And so I'll be getting, like, if I finish all of these or even some of these, I'll be really putting a dent in my TBR, so thank the Lord. So that's Restraint, and I'm excited to read it. The next one is Courage, and that is, the book for that is The Unanswered Questions by Lauren D. Fulcher. And I follow this author, amazing author, on Instagram, and we've had some conversations and stuff. She's really cool. Go follow her. But The Unanswered Questions is, I'm pretty sure, YA middle grade. The genre, though, is, pretty sure those other two were adults. But the genre would be like fantasy, kind of, sci-fi, kind of. And so Some other traits about the book, there's a main character that is, there's a main guy character that is about 5'5", and I am 5'5", and so that's the reason why I definitely love this book and why I think it'll be a good one to read for courage, because height has been a big thing that I've had to kind of overcome to get to the courage to do certain stuff, because it's one of those irrational things that you kind of focus on too much. And so I'm super excited to read this. Again, it's very much like this guy's kind of not qualified. He doesn't really feel qualified for this, and that actually goes into another prompts. A lot of the prompts actually, being unqualified is a big thing that was going on this year. But anyway, I'm excited to read this and to finish reading it. Also, I already started it. So the next one is Confidence, and Confidence's book is Crossbones by Kimberly Vale, and this is, I'm pretty sure, fantasy. And it's like a pirate fantasy, several characters, so I'm pretty sure we might have multiple point of views going on. And it's really about kind of saving the world, and kind of, I really kind of put it on this list because one of the guy character, and then I'm pretty sure there's only one that was mentioned in the blurb, he's gonna become king. But now there's a random person out here who's trying to, like, basically usurp his power, and so he kind of has to overcome that, and I think that's a good one for Confidence, because when someone's trying to, like, kind of act like you're not qualified or act like you don't deserve to be somewhere, what do you do then? You know, that's when your confidence kind of has to kick in, because otherwise they'll just walk over you and you'll lose whatever standing you had. And so I'm excited to read this because those are some stuff that I've struggled with this year. And again, that's Crossbones by Kimberly Vale. The next one is Resilience. This is a really, really big one. And the book I chose for this is The 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. And this is a book about, a fantasy book, about a woman a girl who's, like, lost her mother. I'm pretty sure it's YA. And she kind of has to save her world from evil, basically. And again, I don't know a lot about this book, and what I do know kind of left because of the amount of time it took me to do this and the fact that it was a couple days ago. But the best thing about this book is the fact that, again, it really does seem like a story of resilience and standing tall in the face of whatever happens, and so I really am excited to read this one. The next one is Apples Never Fall by Leanne Moriarty, and the prompt for this is family, because family has been a big part of this year, and I thought it's always fun to read a thriller book about a family and see what that family does in the face of all this crazy stuff. And so, again, like, it's a thriller, and it's siblings, it's 4 siblings, and someone's missing. So definitely recommend it. Obviously I haven't read it yet, so I'm recommending it on my own recommendation for it. But so excited to read this one because Leanne Moriarty is very talented, and again, I just love me some stories about families. The next one is Responsibility, a big one again. All these are really big ones. And this is The Deep by River Solomon, which I think is the perfect book for this prompt because it's about it's a fantasy, and it's basically, again, I won't really tell you what it's about because, again, I said I wasn't gonna do that, but I think African culture, black people are really big, and like black history, and you know, like the things we've gone through as a race of people is a really big one for this one. Also kind of knowing your place, and also this feeling of wanting to leave responsibility, of like not wanting to shoulder the responsibility is a big theme in this book, and so I'm really excited to see where that goes and how I can relate it back to my own life. The next one is Gratefulness. Big one. And this one is The Last Flight by Julie Clark, which, if you didn't know, I am a host of the thriller group in Likewise, and this is a thriller book. And so I had the pleasure of talking to author Julie Clark a couple weeks ago, which was phenomenal. She's a magnificent author and just such a great talker also. Like, her words are eloquent just like her writing, and so it was amazing talking to her, and so I highly recommend you go follow her and read this book, obviously. But this book has been in my TBR for a minute, and it's a thriller, and lies switch is kind of what's going on here. Again, like the switching of lies, and then mysterious past, because when you switch lies with somebody, their past is going to catch up to you now instead of them. So I really was trying to go for that in this gratefulness prompt because of how prevalent gratefulness can be, especially when we're talking about somebody who literally is deciding to leave their life for whatever reason. The next one is Unqualified. Again, I was talking about that before, and this was like just a big glaring word of it because being unqualified is something that can like plague anybody, and it plagued me a lot this year. And so for this book, I picked Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mbalia. And this book I'm really excited to read because it's been on my TBR for a minute, and it's about like this boy. It's fantasy, middle grade, And again, instead of telling you exactly what it's about, the inability to kind of help somebody in need that you love is a big theme in this. And again, a fantasy world, which I'm really excited about. And again, feeling very much like you're not strong, or like you're not the one for the job. You know, it's kind of one of those chosen one things, when the chosen one's kind of like, what is this? I definitely can't do this. And so, you know, I am super excited. Super excited to read that. Alright, prompt 10 is Unrequited. And the book I chose for this is This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. And I tried to read this book a couple years ago and it didn't work out, and so I'm super excited to reread it because I do remember it being very beautiful and very eloquent, and I just wasn't in the mood. And so I'm really excited. It's very music based. It's a YA fantasy. And it's very music based, very responsibility, destiny kind of based. The two characters are like kind of guardians of this society that they live in. Friendship is a big theme in this one, and so I just thought it'd be a really nice one for this. It's called This Savage Song, and so I think that it's just one of those things that might make me think a lot, and I was really excited to put this on this list. The next one is 11, and that is Destiny. Again, very much like these themes are kind of similar, but I think that it's good to focus on the individual things inside of those themes because, you know, getting to the root of the problem is like my middle name, and it's important. And so this book is Chosen Ones by Veronica Roth, which I haven't read, and I'm sure if I read it this time, it's because the timing it's finally right for me to read this book. Because if you didn't know, Veronica Roth is one of my favorite authors ever. She probably is my favorite author. If you're talking about like most books read, yeah, I love her. But anyway, I love this book already just because she wrote it, and it's set in Chicago like they wrote it. But anyway, themes. It's adult sci-fi, and again, it's like a group of characters, and it's like they're chosen for this thing. They've like in the past, again, I think they defeated something, and then now they have to kind of do it again. And then like again, it's very much destiny written, and so I'm really excited to read that and like kind of uncover exactly what destiny means to these people, and how that correlates to the world. I think that's gonna be super cool to read. The next book on the list, the next prompt is Forgiveness. And the book I chose for Forgiveness is Things We Couldn't Say by J. Coles, which I have right here. Thank you to Penguin Tween, I'm pretty sure, who, or Scholastic. I can't remember who sent me this, but, I think it was Scholastic because that's the publishing company. But anywho, by J. Coles. And this is a book that I received a couple, like, months ago, and I haven't read it yet. Again, now's the perfect time. This book is a YA contemporary. Some themes include a family member back after leaving for a long time, high school romance, kind of, you know, it's a lot of stuff going on, like really much coming of age story, kind of, and a reconciliation story, because he kind of has to come to terms with the fact that his mom's back now, after all this time. And so I'm really excited to read it, especially for Forgiveness, because it's one of those things where it's like, how do you forgive somebody who is not giving you what you think that you deserve and are entitled to, you know, and what you definitely probably were entitled to just because it's a mom thing. So, I mean, you know, it's one of those things I have gone through this year, and I'm really excited to read this because I want to see how this dude handled it. That's the best thing about this readathon, is realizing that I have victory over all this stuff. Like, again, God has really allowed me to have victory over anything that's plagued me this year, which means that reading these books is a reminder of that victory, and also a reminder that I'm not the only one going through it. So thank you, Jesus. The next one is Imagination. It's one of those things that has kind of eluded me sometimes this year. I kind of have felt like, oh my god, my creativity might be off, or might not be working right now. And that's a lie. It's imagination is always inside me. And I wanted to pick a good book for this, and this book is Sea Change by S.M. Wheeler. Now this book, what it's about, kind of lost on me. But on Twitter, they had one of these like buzzword things where they kind of just were throwing stuff at you. And it's a YA fantasy. Somebody has to save somebody that they love. And apparently they have to give up their sex in order to do this. It's kind of like a Little Mermaid type of vibes, and in order to save or do whatever they're trying to do, they have to give up their sex. And so I'm super excited to read this because, again, for Imagination, this is something I never would have thought of. And so I can't believe somebody wrote this, and so I'm so excited to see what type of story this is and where this goes. The next one is Wanderlust. And another big one here. The book that I chose for this is Son of the Storm by Sui Davies Akambawa. I hope I'm saying your name right. I'm going to go look and see after this. But Son of the Storm is a YA book. It's very much found family vibes. it's very wanderlusty. Again, the main character, he's like this like prince basically, I'm pretty sure, and somebody who is very important in the society, but all he can think about is getting out of the society and how fun it would be to live outside the walls. Super excited to read this because, again, wanderlust was a big thing, and I think that putting it in this context would be a really fun way to explore this and explore what it means when somebody actually follows this or whatever. And so, super excited to read this, again, on my TBR. The next one is creativity. Again, very much going along with imagination, but in a different way, because the imagination is kind of just the ideas. The creativity is actually putting it to stuff, and again, that felt like it was alluding to sometimes here, and so I wanted to put Love in Color, Mythical Tales from Around the World Retold by Balu Babalola. And this book is basically like these love stories from around the world, but like they're African love stories. And I'm pretty sure they all feature like black people. And I'm super excited to read this because, again, short story collections I think are something that I have only come across a couple times, and I think I kind of am drawn to them, and I kind of want to see how that would be, especially in the sense of where they're like people who all look like me and stories that I've never read before. I'm super excited. And again, creativity is really just for me always realizing that things can expand and that you never are limited or stopped or anything. And so I'm excited to read this because it's not like anything else I've ever read or picked up. The next one is Hope. Really big one. And the book I chose for this is Arc by Veronica Roth. This is a book that's kind of like a short story, a short sci-fi story that Veronica wrote earlier this year, I'm pretty sure. And this, the themes are hope, and it's, hope is set in space, I'm pretty sure, and kind of like saving the world and humanity as a whole. And so I think that hope will be a good one for this kind of like destruction, and like how do you find hope in that. I think that's a really good one for this year and for this prompt. The next one is Faith, and that's a really big one for me. And for Faith, I chose Ivory and Bone by Julie Eshbaugh. And this book is really lit. It kind of reminds me of Crossbones because it's multiple main characters, and it some themes are like, again, friendship, betrayal, trust. And I really am excited to explore these things in this book because I think that faith goes in, like, these things all go into faith. Like, again, the fear of betrayal can, like, stop you from having faith, you know. Trust is essentially faith, especially when it comes to, like, me and my relationship with God. Like, trusting Him that He's gonna come through, that's faith, you know. And so, super excited to read this. Fantasy again, YA fantasy. So excited to read this. It's been on my TBR and my shelf for a minute, so I'm excited to finally put some pep in that step and read it. The next one is True Love, such a big one. And from this book I chose For All Time by Shauna Miles. And I really thought that this book would be interesting to put on this prompt because it's about these two people who, no matter what lives they live, they continue to live these lives, and in every single life they fall in love. But they never know the end of the story until now. And so I think that a story like this about finally finding out the end to your love story, essentially, this end that's always eluded you, and then what that means for y'all. I think that's going to be a really fun topic to kind of put into the place of true love and figure out what that means for these people. I'm really excited. Again, they're black, so I'm super excited to read that. It's like a contemporary, kind of fantastical time travel vibes, and so I'm super excited to read that. So thank you, Shauna Mills, for writing that. The next one is Inferiority, again, another big one, and this book is The Visit by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. One of my sister's middle names is Ngozi, so yay. But anywho, this book is a sci-fi book. Again, it's one of those short ones, and it's basically set in this what is it called, matriarchal society, and it's about two men and how they kind of navigate this world as men in this matriarchal society. Super excited to read it. Again, Inferiority. I want to see how that kind of correlates in this type of story. Super excited. This is so fun for me. The next one is Reminiscence, which was a big one this year. I really felt like, again, I was looking back a lot, which is not always a good thing. And so I think that this book would be perfect. It's called Early Departures by Justin A. Reynolds, who I've read another book by, so he's amazing. But Early Departures is very much like contemporary, best friends, Back from the Dead are some themes. And it's a young adult. And I'm just really excited to see, because again, it's one of those things where you don't get second chances in life, but in these type of books you do. And so I'm excited to see how that does that make a difference, stuff like that. And so I like stories like this, and I'm really excited to read it. Also, my boy AJ Beckles, who did the audiobook for Malik in The Song of Wraiths and Ruin, is also doing the audiobook for this. So that's how I found it. So God bless. Super excited to read it and then to listen to the audiobook because he's amazing. And the last prompt so far, actually there are two, and I didn't move it. There was one for Joy. It's Black Boy Joy And I can't remember the author, but the book is right here. And I can't wait to read this. I'm so excited. It's like an African author, and I'm pretty sure it's about African, like an African boy. Not really sure if there's multiple stories or whatever, but I can't wait to read this. Like, I'm super excited. And again, for joy, I think it's amazing. My last prompt is spirituality. And for this book, I picked The One Who Knows Me by Joanne Mbola. This is another author that I found from Instagram and TikTok, and so God bless, because I can't believe how much social media has just grown my TBR this year. But this book is contemporary romance, and God's a big center of the book, and God's love in times of trouble is a big center of this book. And I think that because of this year being so hard, I've really had to depend on and cling to God, and I think that it's really increased my relationship with Him and made it better. And so reading this amazing book about these two people who also want a relationship but also are trying to grow their relationship with God and also get through stuff, I think it'd be the perfect read, and I'm super excited for that. And so those were the books that I'm going to be reading in December for my Read 2021-a-thon. I hope that your year has been amazing and is continuing to be amazing, because just remember that you got through it. You know that you're getting through it right now, and so you deserve to smile, jump for joy, because you got the victory. I love you all. All these books will be in the description so you can read more about them. I hope they sounded interesting enough to you. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you what are you reading in December? Please tell me. What are you reading right now? Because I still have some stuff that I want to read in November. So, I love you all. I'll see you later with another video. Have a blessed day. Bye.